Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for joining in. Uh, Let me share my screen. So yesterday we have seen a couple of introductory topics, and today we'll be continuing the same where we left out. Okay. So today's topics are I'll be showing practically the pass-through mappings. So what are straight pass-through mappings they will call or pass-through mappings. Okay. What are these straight pass-through mappings? I'll be showing you as a part of straight pass-through mappings. We'll be creating all these mappings, okay? I will be first showing you table to table load, and I will be showing you table to file load, okay? And file to file load. So we'll be discussing all these three mappings, which are like straight pass-through mappings. Straight pass-through mappings are nothing but they doesn't have any transformation involved in between source and targets. They are completely there be there the mapping contains only source and target. Will not involve any transformation in between. So generally, you have seen here, right? In yesterday's this data flow we have discussed yesterday. So what we did, like in the first phase, what we do, like we will not apply any transformation, right? It just will connect to source system and we'll be loading the data into staging. There is no transformation. These straight pass-through mappings are nothing but when we will be pulling the data from source system to staging, those all mappings are called as straight pass-through mappings. Like 80% is the straight pass-through mappings are in the first phase because we will not involve any business logic, right? So I will be showing this table to table load, table to file load today. Okay, we have seen like the basic steps, right? The prerequisite step in yesterday's session. Okay. What is the prerequisite step? The first step should be we need to import the target table, import the source and target tables. Okay. Uh, yeah, we need to import the source and target tables, right? So let me open that. Okay. So this is our yesterday's discussions. So see here, the basic steps. The prerequisite step is like the first prerequisite step. Import the source and target objects into Informatica. Step one is like after that, step one will be creating a mapping in a mapping designer. After that, create a workflow in the workflow manager and create session and link the session to the mapping and link that session to the workflow and then execute the workflow. These are the subtasks in step two. Okay, excuse me. And the step three is like monitoring the job, which is done in workflow monitor. After executing the job, we need to monitor, right? Whether the job got succeeded or failed. So we'll be doing it in workflow monitor. So all this we discussed yesterday. So today, like let me discuss this. Let me show you practically how it can be done. All those three prerequisite step on all the three steps. Okay. Let me open mapping designer. Okay, the first step is like yesterday we have seen like what are the 5 tabs that are there in mapping designer: source analyzer, source target designer, a transformation developer, maplet designer, mapping designer. Like for now, park these two icons, park these 2 tabs aside. We'll be discussing source analyzer, target designer, mapping designer first. We'll understand these 3 tabs, which are very important, and we'll discuss in coming sessions the rest of the 2 tabs. Okay, so what is the first step? Go to the first step. The first step is like import the source and target objects, right? What is our target object? Let me open Oracle also so that I will show you what is the requirement and what we need to do. Okay. So as this is just a training discussions, right? So I have like only some dummy source database and dummy stage database, and I took some dummy target database. So target users, all these are users, right? I will connect and show you what is the table that I will be using it for today's session. Okay. Okay. So select star from EMP SRC. I think this is the table which I want to use. Let me check whether the table is there and the data. Yeah, I have the table and I have few sample records. Okay. So I'll be using this one, and let me open staging, stage user. Let me query if I have that EMP stage table. These tables I have created previously only. Maybe I have created when I'm explaining to some other batches, but yeah, I'll be using the same tables. Okay. The requirement is like we have the data in employee source table, and the requirement is like we need to load it into stage table. That's it. That is the only requirement now. Okay. So for that, what we can do? So we have this requirement, right? Just what is the requirement? I will just make a note here. Requirement is we need to load EMP source table data into EMP stage, which is nothing but just follow this diagram. Okay. So we are think that there is a table on the source side. Let me take this one. Think that there is a source table on the source side, EMP source. Think that there is a target table, like which is a stage table, and we need to bring that data from EMP table and load it into target. That's it. Nothing more than that we will be doing here. Like we will be taking the employee data and loading into staging area. Now the source is employee source and the target is employee stage table, right? We are implementing the first phase of ETL because it's a straight pass-through mapping which will not have any transformation in between source and targets, right? That's what we discussed in the note, the board. Okay. So the straight pass-through mappings are nothing but there will not be any transformations present or involved between source and targets. Such type of mappings are called as straight pass-through mappings. Okay. Or you can write it down like this: mappings which doesn't have any transformation. Any transformations involved in between source and targets are nothing but straight pass-through mappings. Okay. Okay. I will be taking the first one. This is our first practical lab which we will be implementing. Go to mapping designer, mapping design. Okay. What is the first step? Before starting these 3 steps, we need to first finish this prerequisite step: import source and target objects into Informatica. Let's see here. There is no source right now, right? In order to import, we need to be on the source analyzer. When you need to click this icon and you will be on the source analyzer. Go to source tab. As our source is a table which is present in a database, we need to import from a database. Import. Select whatever the database which contains that specific table. SRCDB is the one which contains our source table, right? SRCDB user is the one which contains our source table. Provide the respective passwords and usernames properly. It will list out. I think I have given something wrong here. Let me try the password again. Okay. See, now it displayed the correct, like it will display all the tables and all the views that are available in that specific user. Now select what is our source table. EMP source SRC is our source table for our requirement. Select that one, click OK. That's it. It will be automatically imported into our Informatica. Okay. The first part of prerequisite step is done. We imported the source object into Informatica, the source structure. Okay. Now go back. Now what is the next part? We need to import target, right? Target structure. We need to be on the target designer. Go to targets, import from database and select the database which contains our target table. What is the database? As stage DB is the one which will be having our target table, right? That is like which is a stage table for this requirement. Okay. Provide the password, click connect, and it will display. Let's check whether the table is not there or not. So we have multiple tables. We'll be using this table. Okay. EMP stage, that is our target table. Click OK, and it will automatically pull into our Informatica. The target structure will be imported into Informatica. The first prerequisite step is done, which is good. So this is done. Okay. Well, now, once you complete this prerequisite step, you need to go start with the actual development process. What is the development step one? Create a mapping. So in order to create a mapping, you need to be on the mapping designer. See this icon. I am hovering on this icon, right? Which says mapping designer. Click on this icon. It will automatically take you to mapping designer. Once you are on the mapping designer, go to mapping step, click create, and give some proper meaningful name. All the mappings will be denoted with will start with the naming convention small m. Okay, m as we are discussing table to table load, right? So I will be okay. I will be writing it. You can mention any type of mapping name, but it's always good practice to follow some useful naming conventions. Okay, map. Let's click OK. That's it. The mapping is created. Now, once you created the mappings, the first step is done, right? Where? The first step is like creating mapping. We have created a mapping. Now the actual process begins. Go to sources tab here. Go to source, drag and drop the source into the mapping designer. See, the source comes with a default source qualifier transformation. This is a source qualifier transformation. Don't worry about this point of time. I will discuss about this one later on in our coming sessions. Okay, go to targets now. We imported so drag and drop the source into our mapping. Now we need to import drag and drop the target into our mapping. Once you are dragged and dropped all the source and targets that are required, now go here. Like since we need all the 4 columns, we can drag and drop or connect the port of like this, or you can go right click, select all, and drag and drop into this one. Okay, let me show you how you can do. You can do it one by one. Okay, sorry. You can do one by one like this. Okay, like this. If you want to do it one by one like this, you can do it, or you can also like do, if you want all the ports to be connected, right click here, select all, and drag and drop to the connect to that downstream transformation or target. Okay, now we have connected all the ports, right? Go and save your mappings. Observe on the status bar, output status bar, observe there. It will show you whether if you face any errors or whether the mapping is valid or invalid. It will display on the output status bar. Okay, here I'm just saving it. Don't forget to save. Okay, whenever you complete developing, you always need to be saving your code. Informatica Powercenter is not auto save tool. You have to save it manually. You need to go here, save, or use a shortcut Control S. Okay, our mapping is valid. The first step is done now, right? What is our first step? Is also done. This is also done. This is also taken care, right? Now move on to the second one. Create a workflow. In order to create a workflow, you need to be on the workflow manager. Okay. Go to workflow manager. Once you are on the workflow manager, task developer, there are 3 tabs: task developer, workload designer, and workflow designer. Keep these 2 aside. We'll discuss in coming session. Concentrate on the workflow designer, which is used to create a workflow. You need to click on this icon and go to workflows, just like mapping. Go to workflow, click create. Okay, you need to be giving some proper names. The workflow naming convention always starts with small wf and the session s comma. What is our mapping? M underscore table to Table to table load, right? That is what we gave. Table to table load. Some meaningful name. Okay, you can give anything, but it's always good practice to start the workflow names with small wf. Click OK. That's it. You got your start icon. The workflow got created. Now, once the workflow got created, what is our subtasks in step 2? Create a session and link it to the mapping, right? So let me show you how you can create a how you can create a so in order to create a session, you need to go to task, click create, and you can select from the list of, there are plenty of tasks, but select session task because we need to create a session task, right? And give some proper name. Okay, usually people will be giving the session names with small s and followed by mapping name. What is the mapping name here? You have given table to table load, right? This is how people will follow. The workflow name will be followed with session name, and session name will be followed with mapping name. See here, this m underscore table to table load is nothing but our mapping name, right? This is the same name. Okay, like that we will be creating a session. Now, when you click create, it will pop up a window which will show you all the list of mappings that are available in the folder. See here, right now in our mapping designer, this is the only mapping which is available. That's why when you are creating a session, it is showing only one mapping. Usually, if the folder contains 10, 20, 100 mappings, it will show you all the mappings here. And you need to select what are the specific mapping you want to use it for, use it for this session. What I mean to say is like you select what are the mapping that you want to work with. That's it. Okay, I am selecting this mapping, click OK. Done. That's it. Our session is also created. Once this is done, the second subtask step, what it says, create a session and link it to the mapping. This is done. Okay, the subtask is also done, right? And link the session to workflow. What does that mean? We need to link this start icon to this session, right? So how you can do it? There will be a shortcuts here. I will show you later on. But go to task. There is a link task, right? That's it. Select this link task. Go to start icon and drag and drop like this. That's it. We linked the workflow with the session. That is also done, right? And now, what is the last step? Click link the session to workflow. This is also done. Now execute the workflow. That's it. Before that, you need to configure the session task. You double click on the session task. Don't worry about all these tabs. We'll see one at a time. Go to mappings tab. And here, this is very, very important step. Okay, make sure that you will provide a proper connection of the source. You need to tell Informatica you need to provide the connection details. You need to tell Informatica where your source system, what type is your source system, and where is your source table present. Our source table is present in Oracle SRCDB. I will be giving that specific connection. Click OK. That's it. Nothing to do here. There are plenty of options. I will discuss later on in our coming sessions. So just concentrate on this step. Okay, you need to configure the connections. You have provided the connection to the source table. In the same way, you need to provide if our target is a database system, then you need to give the connection to the target also. Select the proper, what is your target connection, where you are loading your data. What I mean to say is like that, where is your target table? It is in stage DB, right? Because our target is a stage employee stage table. So I'm selecting that specific connection. Don't forget this. This is very, very important. Once you created the session, you need to provide proper source and target connections. Okay. Once this is done, click apply, click OK. Don't worry about all other these tabs. We'll be seeing one at a time. Okay. In our coming sessions. Click OK for now. And whenever you finish developing a code, you always need to go and save. See, our workflow is also valid. Okay. Now, what is the last one? Execute the workflow. How you can execute the workflow? Or right click, start workflow. How I get here? I have not done anything. Right click, start workflow. That's it. Okay. Before running the job, I want to show you, is there any data in this target table? This is our target table, right? There is no data here right now. Let's run the workflow and see whether this will run properly or it will throw you an error. Okay. So the last step is like monitor the job. See here. Now the job, we executed the job. We are monitoring it in workflow monitor, right? See, our job got succeeded. How many records got entered? Let me go to, you can check like, and by using this option, right click on the session, go to run properties and go to source and target statistics. See, there are 7 rows which got read from the source table and 7 rows inserted into target table. Now go to the Oracle database and query that specific employee stage target table. See, all our data is here. That's it. This is nothing but table to table load. I hope that is clear. Okay. This is how you will be performing all these 3 basic development steps and the prerequisite step, which is mandatory. Okay. I'll add like one more piece here. We need to create the session and configure also. Okay. That's it. Every time I'll make a note, save. I'll make the first step. Every step need to be saved. Okay. The first 2 steps, especially, you need to do save. Once you finished your developing the code, this is it. This is what we discussed. This is what we implemented and we achieved the requirement. What is the requirement? Requirement is like we need to load the source table data into target table data. That's it. We have achieved. Okay. We have seen table to table load, right? Now I will show you how to load data from a table to file. Think that our business asks us, okay, this is good. I also want the data in a separate file, like a text file. They want to see the data in a text file because they can send that text file in using via email servers, right? They can send it in emails. They can attach that file in email attachments, and then they can send it to some other people, to some other teams as well. So they asked us like the second requirement is like generate a target file, employee target file. Okay. So that is the second step. Okay. Once this is done, so the business asked us to generate an employee target file, right? Or you can like make, in order to make it simple, the business asks us to load the data from source table EMP source to target file. Okay. So we'll follow the same 3 steps. Okay. I will not do anything new. I will follow same 3 basic steps and the prerequisite step. Okay. Now go to the mapping designer where we'll be creating our mapping. The mapping designer. What is our first step? We need to import source and targets, right? We need to import source and target. That is our prerequisite step. So what is our source here? EMP so SRC table, right? Which is already imported. We can make use of that source table. See, this is the source table, which is already imported. So there is no need of importing it again. We can make use of already existing employee source definition. Okay. Now go to the target. What is our target? They asked us to create a or generate a target file, right? So it means that we don't have a target file. In that case, we need to create the target text file. Go to targets tab, go here. If you have a target file already, the for target file definition, you can import it from file option, this option, but we don't have any option, right? Any file, target file. So I'll be creating that by using this option. Click create, go to flat, go and select the database type. It's a flat file and give some proper naming. Okay, FF EMP stage EGT file or something like that. Okay, let me write it down like this. Okay, give some meaningful name. Okay, that's it. Excuse me. Okay, this is the name which I have given. Click create. That's it. See here, one blank window, structure window has been created. This one. So there are no columns, right? In order to create columns, you need to create, double click, go to columns, and click this icon. What is this? Add a new column to this table, right? So click 1, 2, 3, 4 because we need 4 columns. See here, how many columns are there in the source table? We need all these four columns, right? 4 columns data. That's why I will be creating 4 columns and give proper naming conventions. Name PCL, DPT ID. Okay, give the proper data types also. Employee ID will always be in integers type, right? Employees EMP name is good, string. Give some extra precision length so that even if there are any big names, it will not get truncated. Okay, so I will give, let's give 50. And employee salary is also, it will be in numerical values, which is in, we can provide a data type as integer, and DPT ID also integer. Okay, click apply, click OK. See, all the 4 columns which we needed in the target flat file have been created. Now our source is present, our target is also present, right? See here on the left side, the target which we created is been showing up here. Okay, after that, let's go to mapping designer. That's where, right, we'll be creating a mapping, which is our first step. What is our first step? Create a mapping. Now we'll be on the mapping designer. Once you are on the mapping designer, you need to go to mapping step, click create, and give proper name. As I said, M is all the mapping names in real time will be starting or giving up, will be given the name starting with M underscore, and some meaningful name they will give. Okay, they will be assigning some meaningful name to the small m. Okay, table to file load. Okay, that's the, give some meaningful name. I'm just randomly giving some random names to the mapping, but you depending upon your requirement, provide a proper names. Okay, click OK. See, our mapping is created. Now what is our next step? We need to finish developing the mapping, right? What is that? We need to drag and drop the source here, and we need to drag and drop the target file here. Okay, now select all, because we need all the ports, right? All the columns. Select all and just drag and drop and connect to these ports. That's it. Right click, arrange all, in order to make your code arranged. Okay, I have not done anything. I just right click, arrange all. Even if it is like this also, that's fine, but it doesn't look, it looks clumsy, right? So in that case, like, I will always prefer to do this one, arrange all, so that the source and target objects, or whatever the objects that are part of mapping, will be arranged. So once this is done, what is our step? Once the first step is done, we need to save, right? Informatica is not auto save, so that's why we need to be saving our code which we develop. Right, go to repository, save. See, our mapping is valid. What is the first step is done? What is our second step? Create a workflow in a workflow manager. Creating a workflow is our second step. Okay, once we create a workflow, then we will follow these subtasks. Okay, sub steps. Go to workflow manager, and you need to be on the workflow designer in order to create. Okay, you need to be on the workflow designer. Go to workflows tab, click create. What I said, what we discussed in a couple of minutes back, we need to start the workflow names with small WF workflow and followed by session name, which we about to give while creating the session. So it's a table to file load, right? That's what we have given to the mapping. We'll be giving the same thing, table to file load. Click OK. That's it. Our workflow is created. Now we are back to the sub steps. What are the sub steps? Create and configure a session and link it to the mapping. That's it. Let's go to workflow designer. Create a session. How you created last time? You can create, go to task, click create, and select session and you provide a session name and link the mapping to the session, right? That's what we have seen in the previous example. Now I'll show you using a shortcut. So go here, see here, there is a session shortcut. Click this icon and click on the workspace. It will display the window by listing all the mappings that are part of that specific folder which we are working on. So what is our mapping currently for this example which we worked? This is the mapping, right? I'm table to file load. Click, select that one, select that mapping and click OK. That's it. The session is created. Now what is our very, very important point? We need to provide the proper source and target connection, right? Our source system is a table, database table. So you need to give a database connection, which is the source table present in SRCDB, Oracle SRCDB. Click OK. That's it. And the next step is like we need to give a proper database connection for the target. What is our target here? It's not a target table this time. We are generating a file or we are creating a file, right? So we need to provide folder path or the file name. Let me write down the file, give a provide an output file name here. Right? Default, it will be a dot out. You need to be like, if you want .csv, you can mention .csv file or you can mention it .txt file. Okay, I will give, let's for this explanation, for this discussion, I will be giving tgtmp stage. Okay, something like that, stage .txt file. Let's create a txt file first. Okay, this is the name I given. So this is the default path. This is a parameter which will point to the default path, which is like Informatica, where like InfoShade server. This will create by default. The files will be created to the default location of Informatica server. That server location is nothing but it will be under. You need to go to 10.5 where you install Informatica. Go to server InfoShade. After that, targets file. Okay, here it will generate. Okay, I will show you like if we want to generate any, if you want to generate at any other location also, we can generate. Let me show you later on. First, you observe here, like will be it will automatically generate a file here in the target file path, the default path. Okay, let me apply, click OK. I just gave the connections for source and targets, and I provided the target file name. That's it. And now you need to link the workflow with the session, right? Go to task. There is a link task, right? Select that one. On the start icon, drag and drop link to session. That's it. It is linked. Once this is done, what is our step? Go to repository, save. See, your workflow is valid. So let's show. I will show you. There is no file, right? Let's execute and see whether we have a file or not. Right click, start workflow. So let's see 7 records read from the source, 7 records loaded into the target table. Okay. Now go and check if there is any file there. See, there is one file which got generated. Double click. See, all the data that is there from the source table is coming to the target file location. But I hope this is clear. But see here, observe one thing. There is no employee columns, right? The target columns. In order to get the column names also, go to session again, double click, go to mappings tab, go to target connection. There is an option called header options. So right now, by default, it's a no header. Go and select output field names and click OK. Okay. And whenever you change anything, you have to save it again. Okay, our workflow is valid. Okay, now rerun the workflow again and see what happens. It got executed and got succeeded. Go and check if there is a file. So there is a file at 1:27 p.m. See, let me open it and see. See, we got all the output columns also. So this is how you can load data from source to file. Even the second one is done, right? So the third one, let you guys try at your end and let me know if you face any error, and we'll discuss in next session. Okay. Maybe take it as assignment. Okay, that will be fine. You guys try it out and then we'll see if you have any issues reading. You take any sample file, okay, any which contains some sample columns like student ID, student name, student marks, something like that, and then load it into file. Take this one as a file to file load as an assignment. If you face any error, let me know. We can discuss again. Okay. I hope this is clear, and let's meet next time with some other topics. Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care.